Morning, folks. Another update from us from the Cin7 core, formerly known as DIA system. Morning, Cal. How you doing?
Morning, very well, thank you. Very well.
Good. Bit of a while since we've done one of these, so apologies to anybody who's been waiting for the next episode. We've tried to run through some from the last 2 or 3 months, giving some honest feedback on some of the new drops and some of the key things to look out for. So we'll get straight into it, Cal. So yeah, new features from Q4 through to Q1 2024. Obviously, there was a bit of a break in Q4 because we normally stop for year end and sort of Amazon Prime and all of those Black Friday type of things. So there will have been a bit of a stopper towards the back end of last year. But let's get into the first one. Do you want to talk us through it a bit, Cal?
Yeah, so with all of these, we've just like nitpicked from the blog that Cin7 produced, and this isn't every new feature release. It's just ones that I think will be good talking points and one to make people aware of. So the first one that we have here is B2B portal, prioritize customer invoice template over the B2B default invoice template. So default templates have been a feature in Cin7 for quite a while now, and essentially it allows you against the customer to say that this specific customer uses this specific template. So whereas normally you'd have your invoice and order confirmation and pick list in the background, this is where you can then override that to say this customer gets this template. Common reasons why you might have that is they might need specific branding on that invoice or on the order confirmation, whether you're like drop shipping or they've just got really specific requirements. And previously on the B2B portal, you would just get the normal invoice or you get the normal order confirmation. So with this now release, you can continue to use those default templates. So those customers that have that requirement, if you're on the B2B portal, they will not receive the generic invoice and they'll receive their specific invoice. So quite a good function. It's not, the most common one. Not everybody uses this, but for those that do, it's probably a welcome addition to the system.
Yeah, I think that configurability around the B2B and that sort of personalization is for those who use it is something that's probably needed. So yeah, so if anyone's out there watching who's using B2B, have a look at your default template options. Okay, we'll plow on to the next one. Coman, always an exciting part of the product. Do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, so this is a welcome one, but also slightly confusing still. So co-manufacturing is in this like weird space where it's a really good function, works really well, and it persuades a lot of our clients and leads to come on board because not many other systems offer this functionality. Now, one crux of co-manufacturing is that as you can read in the description here, it uses special locations. So when you transfer your raw materials to said supplier or whatever else it may be, that location is considered special, meaning that it doesn't really appear on stock reports. You can't really view it. It doesn't appear on every transaction location. And it's always been a bit annoying because you can't really see it. But essentially, this release now makes it visible and available within the MRP. Now, why that's valuable is if you're running the MRP report to replenish your stock, you can now also see, okay, what do I have at my co-manufacturer? What's my reorder level at my co-manufacturer? Do I need to replenish those raw materials to continue on with my co-manufacturing operation? So again, it just broadens the pool, let's say, of people who can use the MRP for welcoming co-manufacturers essentially. So welcome addition. We'd still like a bit more functionality around co-manufacturing and said location, but very welcome.
So prior to this then, Cal, if you were trying to look at that visibility of all of your stock across all of the different areas, it was hard to see then, right? So you wouldn't be able to see that in those classed as secret locations, you wouldn't see that anywhere. So you had to do a bit of a manual review to see what you had.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. MES scheduler.
Yeah, so this is one we worked briefly with the team at Cin7 on. They welcomed some of our feedback on the MES because we were one of the first partners to put people on the system, and we had a brief call to recommend some functions quite a while ago now, actually. And we put this one forward just because it sort of enhances the visibility of what's actually available within there. So now within the MES, you can actually view your scheduler, whereas previously you'd just see your task list and you'd see work centers and a few other things, but not really that visible. But with this release, you can now see the scheduler, which means like managers or team leaders or anyone, depending on your business, can go in and say, okay, what's in the plan, what's coming, what have I got to do today? It just gives you a more visual view than what you would previously see on the task list, which was just task 1, task 2, task 3. You can now see, okay, what's coming, what's been done, what's in progress, the same functionality that you had on the PC. Now, obviously, it's a mobile, and Cin7 said from day one that it would be difficult, and it's never going to be amazing to see, but it's very welcome that we can now have that visibility.
Excellent, excellent. And is this quite standard, do you think, in other systems that offer MES type functions? Would you expect to see this type of schedule on an app, or do you think it's quite nuanced to Cin7 Core?
It's a funny one because I think Cin7 have been quite a trailblazer with the MES, actually. Like, it's not something you hear of too often in the software industry, and that might be us living in a little bubble. But it's not something you hear of, we've come from this manufacturing gap. Like, Cin7 have definitely like led the way in this area of manufacturing, as far as I'm aware. So I'd say it's quite unique to them, actually, and being able to give your managers or your team leaders visibility on the shop floor when you want them to, because this is permission dependent. It's not like a simple everybody can see it. You can choose who sees it. So yeah, I definitely think it's quite a good function, quite unique to Cin7, to be honest, in this space.
Excellent. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, advanced manufacturing.
Yeah,
I'll let you run into this.
Yeah, nothing to blow everyone away here. Additional attributes are now available on manufacturing orders. Additional attributes are custom fields. For anyone that doesn't know, you can use them on sales orders, purchase orders, customers, suppliers, products, almost every location in the system. Previously, they weren't available on production runs and the various different screens within a production order. You can now have them. Now that's beneficial because you might have specific fields of data that you need to populate against that batch of production, like, I don't know, temperature of the item produced, date of the item produced, weight of the item produced, all these little bits of data that can then be populated onto document templates. So if you need to produce like a certificate with your items that you've produced, nicely on there. If you then need to report on this data, for instance, I know certain regulations, you have to say how much weight of X you've produced in X time frame. So you could have weights and you could run a report at the end of the month on this. So it just, as you would use them in sales and purchases, the same applies to production. Just gives you more reporting abilities and more data that you can put onto your documents. So very welcome.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you're used to that type of additional attribute custom field in the rest of the product, it tends to become a bit like delimiting, where you think, well, why can't I just do that in this part of the product? So yeah, I think like you say, welcome. It might not be, like you say, hugely game changing, but for those who need those extra fields, it'll be super useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, copying customers' attributes values to sales order fields.
Yeah, so this one's like a positive and slightly a negative as well for me. And then again, I probably need to test it a little bit more to be sure, but I'm just taking what I've heard from the team on this one. So when we first saw this feature was getting announced, we were all pretty happy because we've asked for it for ages. Essentially, what it enables us to do, if we've got additional attributes against our customer, as previously with custom fields, we can now bring them into the sales order. That's been around for years because you might have an additional attribute against the customer, and it could be something as simple as this customer requires blue shrink wrap. Quite common, actually. And then we'd need to see that on the sale, so that can be put onto the pick list. Previously, we'd have to do something weird like use a comment or remember it. So now we can bring that across, so we can see that data onto the sales order. Fantastic, right? But from what I'm aware of, is it it overrides the sales order additional attributes. So you don't keep your sales custom fields on there. The customer wants to come over and get rid of that. Now I need to double check that and be 100% certain, but that's what I've seen so far. But regardless, it's pretty welcome because people need that data to be visible on the sales order screen again for document templates and various other things. So it just allows, it limits clicks between the system and increases visibility because you don't have to go back into the customer record, find out what you had in there, and then bring that back to the sale. It transfers over. So slightly negative, but also a big positive.
So I suppose a tip for us, for anyone who's looking at this as a something to adopt, is maybe just do a bit of testing before you go gung ho into how you're going to use it. Just test a few scenarios before you actually update your process to take that on.
Yeah.
Probably the tip, isn't it, from us?
Yeah.
Okay. Copy suppliers attributes to purchase order.
Exact same. So supplier additional attributes come across to the PO, exactly the same. You know, this could be the same requirement but flipped, right? Against my supplier, I might ask them to always wrap my products in blue shrink wrap. So I need that to go to my PO. So we remember to send the supplier that we need blue shrink wrap, or it could be, you know, remember to use this courier because we don't like said courier. Typical additional attributes that you'd have against a supplier, bring over to the PO, documentation, and anything like that.
Okay, same hint as last time. Just test it before you go gung ho into adopting it into your process. Okay, production resource efficiency report.
Yeah, so another one that we asked for. So this has come up for every production client that we've worked with, and for me, it was you have to add this because the advanced manufacturing module, the main reason you would use the advanced manufacturing module in my mind is because you now want to track how long it's taken for people to do something, how much is it costing us, and getting that level of visibility. Previously, you couldn't actually report on that. You could, but it was very high level and it was almost like, okay, is it even worth making the move because I can't actually do anything with it unless I go into every individual order. And we had a few clients bring this up, and Cin7, they took it on board, saw it was needed, and they've added it. So essentially, this allows you to report on your resources and see how long it's taken them, plan time, actual time, get an efficiency percentage. So you're actually able to export your data and do some analysis on it. Now, I'd love to take this one step further, and within a resource, you have people against that resource. You can't report on that yet. And now I know that would be quite difficult because they'd have to interrogate the activity log. They are working on that, but for right now, this is a good benefit.
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, like you say, if you can measure it and then you can review it, at least then it's a high level better than what we could do before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, some more granularity is always going to be required, I imagine, when you start to get into this sort of resource efficiency reporting.
Yeah, a hot tip anyway is we tell people to group resources rather than put them as individual people, because when you have resources as individual people, then if someone's off that day, you have to completely redo your plan or change things out, and it can become quite an admin nightmare. So if you group your resources, so machiners, engineers, packers, and whatever else, then this report's actually beneficial because then you use an average cost for that group, and then you can just report, okay, this group's efficiency was X, this group's efficiency was X. So yeah, that would be my recommendation for now anyway, until that report's out.
Okay, cool. RMA module and portal release a separate integration. Yeah, this is quite a big sort of change, I think, to the setup and how it runs. So yeah, do you want to give us a bit more detail on this?
Yeah, it's a strange one for me. I definitely think there's other areas that are in more need than this. Again, all my opinion this is, so people could think completely otherwise. We deal with a lot of e-commerce clients and manufacturers, so like this is coming from that point of view where I don't see many manufacturers using an RMA portal. E-commerce portals are going to go through Shopify and WooCommerce and things like that, whereas another partner might have a completely different set of clients and see it from that angle, and it might be like, this is great. But essentially what this is if you've ever bought something online, right, and then you get an email, you click the link, and it takes you to a nice portal where you can fill out your return and you can track it. And that's what this is. You can
Yeah.
have your RMA, give it a portal to your customers, similar to the B2B portal, but rather than taking orders, it's to return them. So,
Hmm.
and that's the crux of what it does. Now, it is chargeable, so you have to pay for this luxury, and it enables your customers to go to an online portal and fill out the returns. Now, my view on this again is it's hard enough to get people to go to the B2B portal to buy the item. Returning the item, they'd rather just pick up the phone and complain that to you, in my opinion. But I know the proof's in the pudding. Let's see when we roll it out, see how many people use it, and then we can also get feedback from Cin7 to see if it is what people want. I definitely think it is needed. I just don't know in what volume yet. So
Yeah.
if you do have customers though where you're doing large volumes and you don't have the resource to process those returns, that's where this will be beneficial, and that's where you probably want to look into this further and perhaps consider it. I can't remember the percentage or stat, but it was something I heard years ago, and there's crazy numbers of what get returns, like companies like ASOS and Boohoo, their return
Yeah,
numbers are
totally.
astronomical, and they have to outsource their returns to like a completely
Yeah.
separate company that manage the portal. So maybe if you're in that industry, like fast
Yeah.
fashion, this could be up your street.
Yeah, I think as well, it's also interesting. The RMA module, existing users will maintain access to the RMA module without any additional payment, including the RMA portal. So if you're already on the system, you and pre this change, which I think was early 2024.
Yeah,
So you will actually you get it as part of it. If you're new to it, it's a new additional part of the subscription that you need to add to. So just
yeah.
to add that. But yeah, I think you are right. Depends what sector you're in and how much returns are in your world. If it's a big thing, it's worth looking at. If it's not a big thing, then maybe don't worry about it too much. So
Yeah.
I think, like I say, if you're going the fashion route, it's always going to be somewhere along the
The
way
devil's
in that
advocate,
world.
if you're fashion, you're probably selling on Shopify and you're probably using a Shopify portal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because the whole Shopify ecosystem around exchanges, returns, all that type of world.
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how it pans out in
Hmm.
people's process. Okay, MRP module.
Yeah. Surprising one. So the MRP module has been around for, gosh, I don't even know, 12 months, 18 months probably. It was in
Probably
beta
longer
for
than
a
you
bit.
think.
Yeah, probably. Who knew that advanced manufacturing was out for like 3 years? That's crazy. So the MRP module's been around, around that time, and it was in beta for a period. Then it got released. And in my experience, it's quite good, but there's a lot of issues with it, and this isn't it's Cin7's detriment. It's a very difficult thing to crack. Like
Yeah,
every business, we've said for years, forecasting is the most difficult thing to crack for any business because no business does it the same. We have one client that does it like this, and then one client doesn't like
yeah,
that, and you have to make a module that caters for all that. So there's quite a few anomalies with it, dates not matching, quantities not matching, and vice versa. So yeah, and essentially with this release, they've now made it a paid module. So if you're already on it as before, you retain access to it. For any new businesses looking at Cin7, this is probably just worth factoring in. The MRP module is now an additional extra. I think it's $79 off the top of my head, but that could be wrong. It's probably between 79 and 120-ish dollars a month. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a really good module. It's really good for, looking what you need to purchase over a period of time. It's excellent if you're in the retail space and you have multiple bricks and mortar stores and you need to replenish those stores. It's
yeah,
fantastic for that. No issues with that absolutely whatsoever because it creates transfer orders and helps you replenish those based on one sort of central warehouse. The manufacturing is where we've seen some anomalies. Manufacturing isn't easy. Plans change, dates change
yeah,
on a daily basis. So I think this one is still got a bit to go yet. And as with previously, I'd definitely do your own testing with this one. Make sure you're happy with the data that it's producing
Yeah.
before committing fully to it. Most modules that Cin7 offer a 30-day trial. Take that out, have a play. We've got some videos on it as well that show you how to set it up, how to use it. So I think it's great. It just needs a bit of testing. We get really positive feedback on the MRP. We get some a little bit that's negative because they don't 100% trust it. So welcome module, being paid. Maybe I'm not sure if it's ready for that actually, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think, like you say, there's so many permutations around MRP for different sectors, and it's quite a broad brush then it's trying to cover. So I think when you are looking at this, if you've not actually adopted it, or you have adopted it and not sure, like what are your key requirements you're trying to get out of it, and try and align to that. If you're sporadic on what you want it to do, or you're not clear, then I think you can go down quite a lot of rabbit holes with it from the feedback I've had from you and the team really when we've been running through it. So I think, like you say, for the right client and the right scenarios, it's good. Maybe not for everyone, depending on exactly what you need out of the MRP. And there might actually not be an MRP which will cover everything that you want anyway, whether it's Cin7's or anybody else's.
Yeah.
So
I personally think it's 80% there. Like I don't want to sound too negative there. I love it, and I think it's 80% there. Like being able to see where the demand's coming from, what's on order, things like that is really beneficial. I just think it's probably needs that 20% more feedback from other businesses to incorporate into it. In comparison, we have clients coming from Sage Line 50, the old desktop version, and if you've ever worked in the business that's used Sage 50, the last thing you do before you go home is you run the MRP. And when you come into the next morning, it might be done. And then that's your MRP. This takes like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
yeah, okay.
So it's a crazy advancement. And it's 80% there. That's my
Cool.
final note on that one.
No problems. Right, let's move on then. Okay, AI, good old AI.
We've put this one in as a tick box, as Cin7 have as well. So it's a module-ish that's been added, and it does two things. It allows you to generate short descriptions. It allows you to generate long descriptions. And it does it very efficiently. I click on my short description, I click a little button, it does a description for me. In my experience, it's pretty accurate and it's pretty good. However, $40 a month, it really depends on what business you are, right? I think how we were sold to it from Cin7 is one-man bands, under 5 employees, not great on resource. This would probably cost you hundreds of dollars or pounds to go and get a copywriter in to write all this for you, and
totally.
you can do it all at the click of the button for $40. So this is a great addition. When someone says AI, it's not what I'd think it would be doing. I'd thinking process my purchase orders for me, not generate a description for me. But I think it's a small step in a long journey in AI. And I think, again, with all of these, for certain businesses, it's very welcome.
Yeah. I think what like you say, again, for if you're in that world where descriptions is something that takes up your time and you're one of 2 or 3 people in that business, then it is worth 40 bucks a month basically. But if you're not doing that many, it's not a regular that you're having to write new descriptions all the time, or you've got a team, or you've already got those descriptions already written, then maybe not for you. So sort of horses for courses, it's got its area. And like I say, all of these systems now have to get some sort of AI into the system because it's on the features of every single system. So it's going to be relevant for some people and not so relevant for others. But yeah, interesting to see where AI goes longer term in these types of systems.
2 closing points on this one. Who should be using this is someone that's using the B2B portal within Cin7, in my opinion. If you're selling on Shopify, WooCommerce, you've probably already got these, or you've got a marketing agency, or you've got an e-commerce developer that does these for you. And yes, you could use this and push it up, but you've probably already got it. This is beneficial if you're on the B2B portal, you don't sell online, you're a B2B business and you haven't got descriptions, you've just got SKUs and names. Quickly generate these, push them to the B2B portal. They're available within there. That's who should be using it. And one other final closing point on this one is it's promising. This might not be the most amazing thing, but it's promising that Cin7 have got the logic, right? They've got the logic of AI. It's in here. It's there. It's just how they then apply this to do other stuff. So
Yeah.
the foundations are built for the house. It's just see how they design the rest of the house, essentially.
Yeah. It's which rooms they head into next, right? In
Exactly.
terms of what they're going to be doing. Okay.
If they're listening,
Great stuff.
sales and purchase order processing, in my opinion.
I'm sure they are listening. Okay, I think that finishes us up really. So just to reconfirm, I'm Matt. This is Callum who's with me. We're working at Blue Hub. Been working in and around Cin7 Core Deer for about 7 years now. So got a team of 15 here in Shropshire working globally. So if you've got any questions or queries, we've a couple of areas you can hook up with us. We've got Blue Hub Cin7 Core Deer YouTube channel. If you put that into Google, you'll find us. There's over 70, I think, videos in there now, all within the last sort of 18 months. So they're all pretty relevant, latest information in there. So if you are getting to grips with Cin7 Core and you want a bit more understanding of what can be done, you can have a look there. We've also got a Cin7 Core users Facebook group, which you're more than welcome to join. Me and Cal are both on LinkedIn. If you Google us on there, LinkedIn, Matt Flanagan, Callum Wagstaff, and you can reach out to us there. And then we've also got our website, bluehub.co.uk, where you can apply for a call. So that's it for now. So anything else we want to add in, Cal, or is that enough of us chatting away today for everyone to take in?
No, I think that's it. If, like I said, if you watch this and you're interested in the features, go and look on our YouTube channel. There's plenty on there. If you're looking at Cin7 and you're not sure if it's the right system with you, go to our website, book a call. We're pretty transparent with everyone. We want to work with the right people, so we'll give you a pretty honest feedback if it's something worth exploring and what it might look like. And if you're already using Cin7 as well, you're struggling, you want to implement some of these features, we do free account reviews for people looking to come on board with what we call optimization for existing users. So definitely go to our website, book a call, and you'll probably speak to one of our two faces.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky them. Yeah, forgot to mention the account review. Good point. Yeah, been doing quite a few account reviews for recently implemented Cin7 cores, but also people who've been on it several years and just after a bit of a refresher and a fresh set of eyes. So take a look. But cheers for that today, Cal, and thanks a lot everyone for listening or watching.
Thank
Cheers,
you,
Cal. Catch you soon.
Bye bye.